We finally got a confirmation of how much the Oculus Rift is going to cost, and I think a lot of people went, $600? Are you serious? And well, I don't really blame them. While that's not really expensive when you think about what the device actually is, it's a lot more than the ballpark of $350 that Palmer Luckey originally said. And now Palmer himself has actually taken to Reddit to answer some of the many questions sparked by the announcement of the price, as well as a few other things. Now he said, quote, "To be perfectly clear, we don't make money on the Rift." Which is an interesting statement, but the next comment he made was the fact that the Rift comes bundled with a number of peripherals, including a remote, Xbox One, and Xbox One controller, not Xbox One console, that would be silly, as well as a couple of games. Now, some people asked, well, perhaps there could have been a cheaper bundle. You know, get like the basic package with just the device and maybe like the premium package with the full thing. However, Luckey cast some doubt on the assumption that it would have been cheaper if the Rift had not been bundled with these things. And he said, quote, "The Xbox controller costs us almost nothing to bundle, and people can easily resell it for profit. A lot of people wish we would sell a bundle without useless extras like high-end audio, a carrying case, the bundled games, etc., but those just don't significantly impact the cost." So obviously the natural question is, what does impact the cost? And unsurprisingly, it's the components inside the Rift headset itself. It's the Rift that is causing the price, and that's not really shocking. And he said, quote, "The core technology in the Rift is the main driver, two built for VR OLED displays with very high refresh rate and pixel density, a very precise tracking system, mechanical adjustment systems that must be lightweight, durable and precise, and cutting-edge optics that are more complex to manufacture than many high-end DSLR lenses." It is expensive, but for the $599 you spend, you get a lot more than spending $599 on pretty much any other consumer electronics devices. Phones that cost $599 cost a fraction of that to make, same with mid-range TVs that cost $599. There are a lot of mainstream devices in that price range, so as you have said, our failing was in communication, not just price. Now obviously he's referring to what I mentioned a few moments ago, the fact that when he sort of was roughly talking about price a few months ago, he did say roughly in the ballpark of $350, but it will cost more than that. And when he spoke with Eurogamer back in 2014, Luckey did say that he wanted to hit a $200 to $400 launch price for the Rift. So, as I said in my video yesterday, I didn't think it would be $350. I thought maybe $400 to $450, but even my higher prediction is lower than the actual price of $600. Now, Luckey did apologise for what he called poor messaging, and he said, quote, "I handled the messaging poorly. Earlier this year, we started officially messaging that the Rift and recommended spec PC would cost roughly $1,500. That was around the time we committed to the path of prioritising quality over costs, trying to make the best VR headset possible with current technology. Later on, I tried to get across that the Rift would cost more than many expected in the past 2 weeks particularly. There are reasons we did not do a better job of prepping people who already have high-end GPUs, legal, financial, competitive and otherwise, but to be perfectly honest, our biggest failing was assuming we had been clear enough about setting expectations. Another problem is that people looked at the much less advanced technology in DK2 for $350 and assumed the consumer Rift would cost a similar amount. An assumption that myself and Oculus did not do a good job of fixing. I apologise." Now, he was asked for a cost breakdown, but he didn't actually give us that, and he said basically he couldn't. And to follow up on his "we don't make money on the Rift" comment, he said on Twitter, quote, "To reiterate, we are not making on Rift hardware. High-end VR is expensive, but Rift is obscenely cheap for what it is." Now, the thing that perhaps I myself didn't consider when I spoke about this yesterday is that this is a new technology. New technology is always more expensive when it first comes out. Just look at when DVD players first came out to now. They're basically giving them away now. But obviously when DVD players were first a thing, they were really expensive. Same for the consoles. They were way more expensive on launch than they are now. And obviously VR is a new technology in numerous ways. It is a whole entirely new peripheral that we haven't really seen. The Virtual Boy does not count, so don't even. But I still do think Oculus did have a hand in what's happening, the outcry, and obviously they have admitted that. I have to give it to Palmer. that he squared up to the tough questions and admitted that yes, this was partly their fault. They didn't communicate clearly that it was going to be more expensive than people were expecting because of the comments he'd previously made. People were very stuck on that 350 comment and the fact that the DK2 costs 350, and you can't blame people because Oculus just didn't do a very good job of communicating how expensive it was going to be. So I understand why it has to be so expensive. It's VR, I'm sure it's extremely expensive to make, and if they're setting this as the price and they're still not making any money on it, that kind of tells you what you need to know. But at the same time, you can't blame people for getting upset, and I'm glad that Palmer has taken the time to kind of clear the air, but I still think, it's going to be too expensive for a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to wait till either the Oculus goes down in price or there's a second generation model. And I think a lot of success of the Rift is going to hinge on how much PlayStation VR costs. Because if it's around the same price point, Oculus is obviously going to be better value simply because it's for PC. You're going to get more performance, better graphics, etc. If, of course, the PlayStation VR is insanely cheaper, then perhaps we'll be talking a different story. But I can't speculate on that without knowing the price of the PlayStation VR. But I think just $600 is a lot of money. £500, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of people's monthly wage and then some. Depending, if you work part-time, that's probably more than your monthly wage. And if you work full-time, that's a decent chunk of it. And some people just can't afford that. So while I can't blame them for pricing it as they did, I did raise this as a concern months ago that they might price themselves too high and people would be kind of tentative to join, because not only is it a lot of money, it's not a known quantity. For example, if I were to run out and get a GPU, a really expensive one like a Titan or something, just to be silly, yeah, it's a lot of money, but I know what I'm getting. I know exactly what to expect. I pop it in, it works, I overclock it, whatever, cool. VR is a completely new beast, and there's probably going to be some teething problems to go along with that, which is making people even more cautious when it comes to spending their $600, and I don't blame people at all. So it's going to be interesting to see the first few months of VR. I hope it doesn't cause it to crash and burn, because I really believe that VR can be the next big thing. So let's just hope that as we go further down the line, we see enough understanding from Oculus that this is going to be a lot of money and that people are going to wait for cheaper models or the second generation or whatever, and just set your eyes on the long haul is what I'm saying. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.